One. Hi, this is Jennifer Millet, and I'm here with Fish in a Tree, and along with two of my coworkers and friends, Lisa and Celia. We decided we're going to have an Easter egg hunt type thing with our book today, where we picked out our favorite parts of the book. Somewhere in here are hidden Easter eggs that tell us what they are, and we thought we'd share them with all of you so you can kind of get a sneak peek on what to expect in A Fish in a Tree, and maybe you'll be as excited as we are about what we're embarking on come Thursday with our first book study. Okay, and I'll start. So my favorite, here's the little Easter egg, is one of my favorites is when the lead character, Allie, has an issue. I'm not going to give it all away of what kind of issue, but she has an issue and she goes out to a swing set. And so I'm just going to read the little part of it and I'll explain why it's my favorite. So she says, my hands slide down the chain as I sit on the seat, thinking of when I was little, when my world wasn't such a heavy place. I used to love to swing as high as I could, leaning back, reaching for the blue sky with my feet. And it made me feel like I could do anything, reaching for anything. I love that visual because I can remember as a child swinging on the swing set, just feeling like all my cares just would fly away and feeling like I was in the sky. And when she's doing this, then when she comes back down, she sees the feet of her teacher, and her teacher's there to support her and help her through what she's going through. And I just think that this is such a neat visual part of the book that really just helps you connect back to when you were a kid and how it felt to be on the swings, but also how it felt to be supported when you felt so lost. So that's my first.
Cool. Okay, I'll go next. My first Easter egg. Let's see. So this section I chose because I thought that it was a really sweet and easy strategy that says a lot about the teacher who's featured in this story, Mr. Daniels. So this paragraph, I'm just going to read it, and you'll meet these characters when you join us for the book study. Mr. Daniels gives Oliver a thumbs up, and I think how cool it is that they have the ear-pulling signal. That way he doesn't always have to tell Oliver that he's doing something wrong in front of everyone. I know what that feels like, and I'm happy that Mr. Daniels cares so much. Most teachers seem to like their students to be all the same, perfect and quiet. Mr. Daniels actually seems to like that we're different. So there's lots of Mr. Daniels Easter eggs probably in my copy, but I just really like that example, and I can imagine a classroom that had all these little signals and embrace differences. So I thought that was a good example of his character.
Love it.
So I found my egg again about Mr. Daniels, and I really like Mr. Daniels because he seems like the kind of teacher that wants to get to know his students, and not just to get them through the class, but to know who they are as a person. And I had a teacher like that. His name was Mr. Wink. And I remember he always drank water out of a coffee mug, and he'd be talking and lecturing and walk out and rinse his coffee cup out and come back. And as he's talking, he pretends to sneeze and he throws the water from the coffee cup at you at the same time. And if you're not paying attention, you're like, oh, like, he, no matter how many times he did that, he got a kick out of seeing our reaction. But he made a big impact on my life because he just seemed to get us.
That's awesome. Probably not something to do during COVID times, but
No.
I love it. And I love how the book, I mean, this isn't one of my Easter eggs, but how it makes you reminisce on those teachers who had such an impact in your life. My second Easter egg is, I'll just read a little part of it. It's when Allie goes into the bathroom, she's upset about something, and she uses this analogy that I think is so beyond her years and so wonderful. It says, I feel so much worse than just mad. Look, I say, when you get on a bike, do you expect it to hold you up, not fall apart when you pedal? Yeah, so what? Well, imagine if every time you get on your bike, you had to worry that the wheels would come off, and every time you ride, they do, but you still have to ride, and every day, and then you have to watch everyone, watch you as the watch everyone watch you as the bike goes into pieces underneath you, with everyone thinking that it's your fault and you're the worst bike rider in the world. And although that's a pretty sad way to feel, I love how she connects it to something that can help the other person understand where she's coming from, and how frustrating that must be to do something all the time that everyone expects to be done right, and then it feels like it's falling apart every time. So I thought it was a really powerful part of the book.
Yeah, that's a great analogy. I'm going to skip my second Easter egg because I think my third one is a nicer segue. My third Easter egg is just one line coming from maybe the main character, Allie. And she says, I guess maybe I'm having trouble is not the same as I can't. And I love that line. And it makes me think about, there's a children's book about I think it's called the Magic of Yet. Do you guys know have you seen that book?
No.
Well, I won't go into a second book because we should stay with this one, but just the idea of working towards something, maybe you don't have it yet, but you can kind of reclaim the power over learning by thinking about yet. It's like, I'm having trouble is not the same as I can. I don't know it yet. I can't do it yet. So I like that line. Oh, but that wasn't the analogies one. Okay, I'm skipping back to my second Easter egg. Sorry, Lisa. I'm taking control. So my second Easter egg is on page 159. And it's another example of Allie's amazing talent with analogies. So she just says, a mind movie flickers in my brain of an angry fish at the bottom of a tree, banging on the trunk with its fins and complaining that it can't climb it. I'm sure you're thinking of the title, right? I think of a turtle making a sandwich, a snake playing the violin, an elephant knitting, penguins playing basketball, an eagle scuba diving. So these are just some of her amazing mind movies and examples that are so visual and fun and easy to imagine. That's all three of mine. Go ahead, Lisa.
So mine is just starting the chapter 10. It says promises, promises. But it talks about the book that really makes an impact on Allie. And I think having that book for any of us, it not only encourages reading, because I know at a certain time in your life, you're like, if I have to read another book, and your parents will get you to read anything, just to get you to read. But when you find that book, you're able to just sort of step out of everything and be that character or be in that book. And it gives you that chance, like a timeout from everything else. And it's just sort of a nice relief. And so I always, before I go to bed, I always engage in a book, and just it sort of gets me to that spot where all my worries can float away. And yeah, so I love that part. She has one, it's very important to her. And I think the one that I had, and like you, Celia, it'll be with you for the rest of your life.
Absolutely. That's wonderful. Yeah, books can definitely have such a wonderful place to be able to go away and fall into who you are. I love that. Okay, my last egg is the part of the theme that I love them. I don't want to say the most because they're all so great, all the different themes in the book, but one of the most important, I think, for Allie. And it starts with, I hear Keisha kind of laughing to herself. I figure it's because all the boys are going nuts. But then she turns to me and says, You've got guts, Allie. I respect that. Well, I like that too, but mostly I like that she says it. Hey, she says, you want to sit together at lunch? I've been sitting with some people, but I don't talk to them and they don't talk to me. And you sit alone. So a mind movie shows up sitting at a table talking and me being happy. Allie, what do you think? Oh, yes, that would be great. Thank you. After the best lunch and recess I've had in a long time, Mr. Daniels waves me up to his desk. And I'll stop there. But that's the beginning of her friendship with Keisha. And all through the book, we learn how important the friendships are to each other. And I know in my life, my friendships have been so important. And I just love that. I think it's a beautiful, beautiful friendship and a beautiful way to start helping Allie learn who she is.
I like that too.
Yeah.
So my third and final egg is on the chapter about possibilities, chapter 33. And I actually had used this the other day with one of the students that I was supporting. It's called tapping. And so when you're breaking up a word, you tap out the syllables. And so Allie is talking about how she enjoys working with Mr. Daniels, but the work is getting harder and harder. So it was really interesting to me that he's thinking outside the box with her, finding ways to not only engage her, but to make things a little easier for it to click. And I think for me, that's what I wish all my teachers had done, of understanding that, yes, you can teach to the whole room, but some of us learn differently and some of us connect with things differently. So when he's doing the tapping, that's clicks with her and she's able to move forward. And I bet that ended up taking a lot of the stress and anxiety, out of schoolwork, because school's stressful. So I just liked how he came up with something creative and fun.
That's awesome. Yeah, he does a lot of really neat ways to connect students in this book.
He's an excellent teacher.
He is an excellent teacher.
Excellent. You got to meet him.
And we hope you had an excellent time listening to all our favorite parts. And we can't wait to hear your favorite parts. And we hope that if you're at all interested in what we've talked about, that you join our book study. It'll be Thursday evenings from 6 to 7, grades 4 through 6. You can sign up at the link below. And we are so excited for April 1st, not just because we want to fool each other, but because we want to really get into this book and see what you're thinking and see how much you love it as well. Thank you so much. And we will hope to see you Thursday.
Thanks, Jennifer. This was fun.